Good morning, Amaratzim. How are you? How's everyone doing today? Today's daf is Yoma Nun Ches, Yoma 58. I started today a new thing. Again, I'm doing a lot of new things. I started learning out of the art scroll, straight from the art scroll, not as a aid. What does it say on the cover? Uh, as an aid to Talmud study. I am learning the Gemara from the art scroll with the English on the side. Sometimes I look at the Hebrew, sometimes the English. Makes it much easier. I'm a Native American, so it's much easier to look at the English. But now I really join the Daf Yomi cycle because I guess 98% of people use Art Scroll English, or won't use Art Scroll Hebrew. But you're using Art Scroll directly from the source, from Art Scroll. Here we go. Bottom of Nun Zayin Amud Beis. Gemara says, "Ira dam hapar l'toch dam hasoyer." The Mishnah says that he mixed the blood of the par, the bull that the Kohen Gadol offered on Yom Kippur, into the dam hasoyer, the one that the soyer that was La Hashem, the goat that was for Hashem. Tzan Kamanda Amar Ma'arvin Lekronos. Now we know that they already talked about sprinkling the blood in the Kodesh HaKodashim, and then we talked about in the previous dapim was sprinkling the blood right outside the Kodesh HaKodashim, in the Kodesh, in the Heichal, towards the Paroches. Now we're talking about a third type of sprinkling, where he actually goes to the Mizbeach Hazav, and he puts the blood on the corners of the Mizbeach Hazav, from the par and the sawyer. So the machlokas over here is whether you mix the dam par and dam sawyer over here. Beforehand, the two previously sprinklings in the Kodesh HaKodashim and towards the Paroches, there was no mixing. Here is a machlokas. Our Mishnah says, it seems to be like the one who says you mix it, because it says ira dam par l'toch dam sawyer, that you mix the two together. Deidmar, as Machlokas, Rabbi Yosha, Rabbi Yonasan, Chadamar Ma'arvin, V'Chadamar Ein Ma'arvin. One opinion says that you do mix it, and one opinion says that you don't mix it. Tistayim the Rabbi Yosha Hu Damar Ma'arvin. Say that Rabbi Yosha is the opinion that says you do mix the bloods before you sprinkle it on the Mizbeach Hazav. Amar Afagav the Lo Ksiv Yachtav Kman Ksiv Yachtav Dami. The general machlokas between Riyoshi and Riyonatsan are all in Shas. If it says two things and it doesn't say the word Yachtav, it says two things next to each other in the pasuk, do we assume that you need both of them together, or each one by itself would justify that halacha? So Rabbi Yoshia says that even if it doesn't say Yachtav, we could assume you need both of them together. And here it doesn't say Yachtav, so therefore it's like he's saying here, it says in a Mishnah, you join the two together. So it doesn't say Yachtav in our pasuk. Must be like Rabbi Yoshia. Whereas I feel the tema of Rabbi Yonas, and you could say our Mishnah is even like Rabbi Yonas. Shiny haka dechsiv achas. Yonas Rabbi Moda over here, even though it says yachtav, it says a different word. It's achas to teach me that the bloods join together. So the Mishnah says Tanya delo kishnuyan. The Brisa not like this way of finding a possibility that Rabbi Yonasan is the author of our Mishnah, because it says v'lakach midama par midama sar sheyim rav in divrei Rabbi Yoshia. The Raisa explicitly says that you take the mixed blood of the par and sawyer according to Rabbi Yoshia. So you see, it's Rabbi Yoshia. Rabbi Yonasan Omer Mizeh b'fnei atzmo. On top of Nun Chem and Aleph, Mizeh b'fnei atzmo, Mizeh b'fnei atzmo. Yonasan argues on him, and he says you take each separately. Amar Rabbi Yoshia v'lo kvar nemar achas. It says achas together. Amar Rabbi Yonasan v'lo kvar nemar midama par midama sawyer. It says them separately. Imkin lama nemar achas. What is the word achas according to Rabbi Yonasan? Lomar lach achas v'lo shtayim. Midama par achas v'lo shtayim. Achas v'lo shtayim midama par. Achas v'lo shtayim midama sawyer. That you take one time from the dama par and sprinkle it on the four corners of the mizbeach, and one time from the dama sawyer, and not two of either one. Tani idach v'lach midama par midama sawyer. Shim ravin zebazeh. Like Rabbi Yoshia, that they be mixed together. Maybe it should be each one separately. The stomach of Rabbi Yoshia. The Gemara says this price probably stam anonymously probably is Rabbi Yoshia, because he's the one who said in the previous brisa that you mix the two together. All right, the Mishnah continues. The Nasan is Hamali Barekon. It says after he poured the Dama Par and the Dama Sawyer, he put the full cup, full vessel, receiving vessel, into the empty one. So now the Gemara has a question. Rami Bar Chama asked the following question from Rav Chisda. Hiniach Mazrik, Besoch Mazrik, V'kibel Bo Es Hadam. To be proper, you gotta button the towel, the second button. You know, no one's looking. I unbutton the second button, but my wife doesn't like it and doesn't look so rabbinic. So I'm teaching a Gemara share. You gotta look rabbinic a little bit. Hiniach mazrek v'tol mazrek v'kil bo adam mao min b'mino chotzitz o eno chotzitz. He put one of the cups into the other one, and in the Kabbalah Dam, is it chotzitz or is it not chotzitz? Now we know the pasuk says by Kabbalah Hadam, this is a general question. When you're Makabal the Dam from the animal for any carbon, it says velaka. It says in the pasuk you take it. The Kohen takes it. He takes the basin with the blood. So what about if there's an extra basin, extra cup, an extra receiving vessel? On the bottom of it, separating between him and the actual vessel that contains the blood. Now this is min b'mino because we're talking two vessels. I have an answer to that now from our Mishnah. Isn't that what we're talking about in the Mishnah, where he puts the full vessel into the empty vessel, and you see that it's good? Where it says lo ira mazrek male l'toch mazrek rekan. Gemara says no. What it really means is that he takes again, he mixes it again. He takes the full vessel and he pours all the blood from the full vessel into the empty vessel. Now all the blood is in the previously empty vessel. Whereas Zatan le'reisha ira dama par l'toch dama sayer. We just said earlier in the Mishnah, we said that you pour the blood dama par dama sayer. And where it says no, kadela arvan yafa yafa, it's still possible. He poured it a second time because blood doesn't mix so easily. So you want to pour it a second time so it'll mix better. Tashma, Yaomir agabe kli or agabe regel chavero puzzle. Now, one of the halacha requirements is you have to be standing when you're makabel the blood. You have to be standing on the floor of the azara. Let's say he's standing on a vessel, or he's standing on his friend's foot. So where it says that's the Mishnah says puzzle. So you see what that min b'mino is puzzle. Because he sees his foot is standing on another foot. Or it says shiny regel the lamatzi mavatale. There you can't keep your foot there. A person eventually has to remove his foot. So the person whose foot he's standing on is going to remove his foot eventually. So it's not considered permanently there. It can't be permanently there, but another vessel you can keep there for as long as you want. So therefore, maybe that mimamino would not be a problem. Tashmaya Omer Ika da Amri Haki Boy Mine. The Gemara says alternatively we have a different way of asking the question. Not a shayla of min b'mino chotzitz, derech sheres b'kach or ein derech sheres b'kach. Is it a way of serving Hashem having one vessel, the full vessel inside the empty vessel? Sometimes you don't have for kiddush, you don't have a becher, so what you do is you put it in a second cup. So everyone thinks it looks nicer with the double cup. The Gemara is saying over here, maybe it's worse if you have derech sheres b'kach to have a second empty cup underneath the full cup. Maybe it's not considered derech sheres. It's not a proper way of serving Hashem. So the Gemara says, derech sheres b'kach ein derech sheres b'kach. Tashma Tana deber b'shmal as kol kli asharis asher sharzu bam b'kodesh shnei kelim b'sheres achas. It says kol kli asharis. Kol kli asharis is referring to multiple kalim. So you see that at minimum at least two kalim, and it's still called one sheres. So you see it's okay. Now, the Rishonim point out over here that this is assuming that min mino wouldn't be a chatzitza because it's the same thing. But what? Let's say assume it's like intem lomar that mima mino is not a chatzitza. What if you have a chatzitza of something which is not the same thing? That would be more of a chatzitza. So the Gemara says, what would be the case? Uh, the case is a case where you took a piece of a date branch, the inner part of the date branch, and it's kind of like a meshy type of material, uh, not so strong, a fibrous type of material. Kevan machalchal lochai. Since it's porous a little bit and liquid can get through, it's not chod. So dilma loshna, or maybe we say that it's still a problem. Amalei tanina zole v'holei chad shemagilas sfug. We have a proof from Para Duma that one of your Makadish, the Mayim, the Mechatas, in order to, and then you put the Efer Apara in those Mechatas. When you're talking about it has to be Mayim Chayim El Kelly. And if you have a sponge in there, the sponge absorbs some of the water, and the water is considered to be in the sponge, not in the kli. It has to be in the kli, and a sponge is not considered a kli. So they say over there that you could pour out until you reach the sponge, and that water still remains good. So you see that the sponge is not considered to be a chatzitzel, just like, let's say, this part of the date tree, date trunk. The Gemara says, "Shiny Maya de Klisha." There, you can't bring a proof from over there because water is very viscous. It has more viscosity than blood. Blood is a little thicker, so therefore it'll get through. So the sponge is not considered a chatzitza to the water. Masha'inkin, by blood, it might be a chatzitza. The Gemara doesn't really answer the question. Alternatively, the Gemara actually answered the question. Madam kosher. If you have this piece of date tree separating between the blood and the bottom of the kli, it would be kosher. The kometz puzzle. When we're dealing with flour, kometz, and you have to put it in the kli sharis or in the makadesh it, then the date would puzzle it because flour is a solid. It's not liquid at all, and it wouldn't get through, and that would for sure be a chatzitza. All right, the Mishnah says, "Anon chalamad beis v'yotza al mizbeach asher lifnei Hashem zeh mizbeach hazav." Now we're talking about what we were talking about before, that he's going to go to the mizbeach hazav, and he's going to put the blood on the mizbeach hazav, which the Mishnah says it's the mizbeach hazav. Hiskal machate v'yored mehechan hu maskil. He goes up and he goes down. Where does he start from? Makaren Mizrach is Svonis. He starts from the east, the northeastern corner, which is closest to the entrance to the Heichal. Svonis Marav. Then he goes up on a counterclockwise way. Marav is Dromis to the southwest, and Dromis Mizrachis, eventually to the southeast corner. It was exactly the opposite on Mizbeach Hachitz, Mizbeach Adama outside. There you would start from the east, the southeastern corner, and you would go around in a clockwise fashion. Exactly opposite by this sprinkling of the blood on Yom Kippur. Lezer Omer Bimkomo Haya Omer Mechate. Lezer has a different opinion. He says he didn't actually walk around to the four corners of the Mizbeach Hazav. He would just he would reach his hand. It was only an amma along the Mizbeach Hazav, so he'd reach his hand and he would put the blood while standing in front on the ramp of the Mizbeach. Al Kula Yanosim El Mata Lamala. All three corners that were distant from him a little bit, he would face his hand down and sprinkle it on the corner. Except the first one that was right in front of him, he put his hand downwards, so because he went like this, it might fall back, the blood might drip back on his clothes, on his big day kahuna. He's al tarosh mizbeach shefam. Then the next thing he did, he would actually sprinkle on the center of the mizbeach azav 7 times. And the remainder of the blood, he would pour on the western base of mizbeach hachitzon. Mizbeach hachitzon yeshovech yisod dromi. And any remnant blood from from animals that were offered on the mizbeach hachitzon, he would pour on the southern base. All these bloods, these remaining bloods, would mix together in the Amma. The stream of water that went through the Azara from the Mizbeach, it would go through the Azara. Would go to the stream of Kidron, this valley of Kidron, where they had a Nachal, and this blood eventually, this liquid, was sold to gardeners. People use it for irrigation. Once you sold it, so it loses kedusha, and you could use it. Molin behem. And if you don't sell it, then there's meila, because the blood was kodesh and it wasn't redeemed yet. Gemara says, Tanarabanan Yatsa el Mizbeach. He went to the Mizbeach. Matam Alomar. What does that mean to tell me? Amar Rab Nechemiel Fishim Atzinu a Parabal Kol Mitzvos. We found by a Parabal Kol Mitzvos. What is that? It's a case where a Kohen Gadol makes a psak halacha for himself on a thing which you normally chayav kares for if you made a mistake, if you did a b'shogeg, and he made a mistake and he did the avera b'shogeg. So you also bring a par, you also bring a bull. So on that type of bull, there he stands all the way in back of the Mizbeach Hazav and sprinkles towards the curtain from behind Mizbeach Hazav. It's pretty far. Yachal Avzek, and you might think on Yom Kippur also he does. It says after he sprinkles on the parochas, he goes outside to the mizbeach. So therefore, it implies where was he sprinkling from when he was sprinkling on the parochas? He was sprinkling from inside, within the mizbeach, between the mizbeach and the parochas, not like the parabal kol mitzvos. Tanya idach lifnei Hashem. It says by the parabal kol mitzvos lifnei Hashem. We found by Yom Kippur, he would sprinkle from between the mizbeach and the parochas onto the parochas. Yachal avzek, and you might think the parabal kol mitzvos is the same. Talmud lomar mizbeach ketorah samu lifnei Hashem asher ba'ol moed. Mizbeach lifnei Hashem and a kohen lifnei Hashem. Mizbeach is in front of the Hashem, which is really the Kodesh Hakadosh. Main kohen lifnei Hashem. The kohen wasn't next to Hashem. Therefore, it tells you that he stood outside of the Mizbeach, between the entrance to the Heichal and the Mizbeach Hazav, and he mazeh from there on to the Parochas, or next to the Parochas. Hiskal Mechata V'Yored. Tanarabban, Hiskal Mechata V'Yored, Mehechan HaMaskil. Where would he start from? Mekar Mizrach is Dromis. He would start from, it's not like our Mishnah, he would start from the southeastern corner, not the northeastern corner. Dromis Marav. And he would go around, Dromis Maravis, Sonas, Mizrachis. He would walk around in a clockwise fashion. Divrei Rabbi Akiva. Yosef Glili Omer, like our Mishnah, Mekar Mizrachis, Sonas, Maravis, Dromis Mizrachis. Makom Shur Yosef Glili Maskel, Misham Rabbi Akiva Posek. Makom Shur Rabbi Akiva Maskel, Sham Yosef Glili Posek. Basically, we're saying over here is that it's a machlok. As our Mishnah said that you start from the northeastern corner, and you go around counterclockwise. And Rabbi Kiva says the opposite. You start from the southeastern corner, and you go clockwise. Chule Alma, Mia, but who carrying the Pagabaresha lo Abid. Everyone agrees he's coming out from the Kodesh Hakadoshim. He's walking towards Mizbeach Hazav. So he comes in contact with the outer edges of the Mizbeach Hazav, which is in the west. No one says he starts in the west. My time. Why does he start in the west? Amar Shmuel, Amar Kurav, Yasam Mizbeach, and nothing Mizbeach. He has to leave from the entire Mizbeach. He has to go outside of the entire Mizbeach. Therefore, he has to come to the east side. The Rabbi Akiva Nakiv Derech Yamin. Why does Rabbi Akiva say you go clockwise? Go counterclockwise, which is to the right. When you go counterclockwise, you're walking to the right all the time. Lema b'Ram Yecheskel K'mifli Dam Ram Yecheskel Yam Shas Shlomo Omid Al Shnayim Shnei Asar Bakar. There in the Beis Hamikdash that Shlomo built, he called Yam Shel Shlomo. It's also the name of a sefer. All his lamdanim over here learn Yam Shel Shlomo. Is named after this. So the Yam Shel Shlomo stood on 12 statues of cows. Shlosh Aponim Svona, 3 cows were facing the north. Shlosh Aponim Yama, 3 were facing the west. Shlosh Aponim Negba, 3 were facing the south. Shlosh Aponim Mizracha, and 3 were facing the east. Vayam Aleihem Milmala, Kol Achareim Bayis Besa. This mikvah, this Yam Shel Shlomo, was a big mikvah, big basin filled with water that was used for a mikvah for the Kohanim. It was based on these statues of cows. Based on that's on the backs of these cows. That's what it rested. Halamat shakol pina shtapona lo yu ela derech yamin lemizrach. So you see that the order of the pasuk is that it goes. The pasuk says it starts from the. It says that the first one's Safona in the north, and then it goes to the west, and so it's counterclockwise to the right, like Rabbi Yossi Aglili said. So the Gemara says, "Mar Yisrael Ram Yecheskel, Mar Yisrael Ram Yecheskel must be Rabbi Yossi Aglili hold Rabbi Yecheskel." Then in the base of English, you always go to the right. And Ram Yecheskel and Rabbi Akiva doesn't hold the Ram Yecheskel. So the low. The Chuliyama is the Ram Yecheskel. Everyone agrees in the base of English, you generally go to the right. Everyone agrees outside. Rabbi Yecheskel was talking outside in the Azara, where this mikveh was. There you go derech yamin. But in the Bifnim, in the Heichal, Rekiva didn't learn the chutz from the Bifnim. Rekiva and he the lo yalif panim b'chutz ibay hachin avid. So according to Rekiva, he doesn't learn from the outside. So in the Heichal, what do? He should be able to do whatever he wants. Amal Rekiva Medina v'hu karen the pag b'reisha hu avid b'reisha. Really, the halacha should be when he's coming out of the Kodesh HaKadoshim, the Kohen should put it on the corner, the western corner, one of the western corners, the southwestern corner. That's where he comes out of the Kodesh HaKadoshim, because down Reish Lakish, every all mitzvos, you don't pass over mitzvos. That's the first opportunity to put it on the Mizbeach Hazav. My law of it. Why doesn't he do that? Mishum Nechsiv Yitzel Mizbeach Adonai Mikol Mizbeach. It says in the pasuk that he has to exit from the entire Mizbeach, the entire expanse of the Mizbeach. So he has to come to the eastern side. We came on the Yayiba who Karen Hadar Asila who Karen the Chayiv Lamesa Reisha. And once he puts it first on the southwest, the southeastern corner. So then he goes back to the southwestern corner. Because remember that the parochas, there was an amma space between them, where the parochas, and you would exit from the south side. From the Kodesh Hadashim to the Kodesh, you would exit on the south side. So first you'd come to the south western corner, and then you continue to the southeastern corner. So really, you start from the eastern corner. No, sorry, you start from the southeastern corner. You start from, and then you'd be chayiv, since you really pass by the southwestern corner first. So therefore, you go to the southwestern corner and you continue on your way, and you go clockwise. And I guess, obviously, according to Rabbi Yossi Aglili, he would hold that really you go, because kol pinosh tapon derech yamin, like Amri Yecheskel, therefore it forces you to go to the northeastern corner first and go counterclockwise.